Hey guys, welcome. We are back at our bench this morning, and we have a ton of MEI 2000 series validators apart. We're doing a batch of 48 for one of our good customers, so we thought we would show you a few tricks, a few tips on how to clean, how to do some simple repair, and we're a little, as I'll show you here, a little disorganized at our bench. However, sometimes this is the best way to learn. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here, guys, is I hope I can zoom in. We've got the lower transport assemblies. These come out one cable goes to the board. Now these are 2500 series. If you get up into the 26s and 2700 series, sometimes they have a break in the harness with a connector. You just snap them apart, so you don't have to really get into where the board is, but it's only 3 screws. So guys, just going to show you here. This one's let me see, let me get a dirty one. I'm going to show you how these come apart, how I've found the best way to not damage things. This is your tool of choice. It's got a couple of clips in the back, okay, which I start with. Okay, they're right here. Be very careful, you don't want to break this housing or you're going to be looking for another one. So put the screwdriver in there, give it a little push, and the back end will come loose. Now it's not going to come out yet. Got 2 more notches, and this is sometimes a little tough, especially if they're syrupy, if they're stuck. But what I do, start over here. This one's tough. Put the screwdriver in those notches, and then voila. Okay, here are those notches I'm talking about. Those are the 2 on the back, and as you can see, maybe you'll see the 2 slots here. You see those little notches? That's what holds it in. So anyways, take that apart. Your little rollers, as you can see, these are dirty. They're supposed to be white. They have a spring on them. So I take those out, lay them out of the way. Then, very carefully, you want to take this sensor board out. Okay, just lift here. The only real spot that kind of sticks is right here. Let me zoom in, where the cord goes in. Okay, so when we go to put this back together, kind of go down, it fits right in. Now this is not in yet. Okay, these are not centered because I don't have these tabs in where they belong. What you need to do is push down. Okay, now see how everything is centered? These 2 tabs have gone in. That's the correct way. Back out just a little bit. Alright, so we're going to take these back off. We're going to set this aside. This is one from a New Currency 2500 series. As you can see here, I'm going to show you the difference here. If I have a, yeah, I do. Let me show you the difference in a non-08 currency. In other words, just a straight ones unit. These are kind of easy to spot. Some of them are not. As we get up into the 26 and 2700s, they're different. The 2500 series, these are really popular, sought after, call them what you want, but everybody uses them. You can use a 110 volt system, or you can use the 24 volt 2500 series, which work in MDB, like soda machines and snacks. Okay, now take a look here. If I can hold them. See how the one on the left has less components? It's kind of blank here, actually. Well, this one here has more stuff. The best way to notice before you even take these out, because you can look through the lens, okay, See here? It's got two ICs. See this one? It's got one tiny little 8-pin IC. Well, that is for singles only. This is flashable, that has the two integrated circuits there. Okay, so now let's get back to disassembling our sensor holder. Now, see how easy I did that? The secret is the two little legs that stick out. Okay, everybody breaks those off at some point. The way these have to come out is you put a screwdriver in through the back, hold on to it, or that will shoot across the room because it is spring-loaded, as you can see. So the way these have to go back in now, they don't just go in straight, they don't go in upside down. You have to kind of hold it in because it's spring-loaded. Start those first two tabs. Okay, click, then it goes down. If you don't get the thing to come out, this one's a little sticky, it's not clean yet, okay? But you can kind of get the idea. The tabs have to go down and then flatten out and then click, okay? So now, what I do, as you can see on the bench here, I've got a bunch of these today, and I throw them in a wash tub, soapy water. I clean everything. There's one spot I get a Q-tip out for, and that's the fins here, come around the back side. It's nice if they're clean, they're going to last longer. So now these little rollers, as you can see, let's take out some of these real dirty ones. What you have to do here, and I apologize because my hands are going to be in the way here a little bit, but see how grimy they are? They have that black on there. Well, that's from the bills, okay? What you have to do, if you put that in hot soapy water, it's just going to come out and it's still going to be there. It might be softer, you can wipe it off with a rag. What I do is I scrape it off. It's time consuming, but I haven't figured out a better way yet. I don't have one of those vibrating tanks like the dentists use to clean their tools. But anyways, I get it about that clean, and then what I will do is I have a little shaker jar, and it's probably big enough for, oh, maybe 6 of these, you know, as far as all the components. Is I put a couple drops of detergent in there, hot water, I seal it up, and then I just sit there and I shake it, I let it sit, and then the soap does its job. So that's how I clean them. Let me show you some that are clean, because we didn't want to spend all this time. Okay, I have a set off to my side here. These are the little spring-loaded holders for the rollers. Okay, now here's a set that are nice and clean. Okay, it came out of my wash tank. So now what I'm going to show you here is how these go back together. Okay, let me start. Oh, I guess I'll start with this one. This one's empty. All right, so what we're going to do here is you put the rollers, just clip in. Okay, be sure you have both sides in. If it's crooked, it's going to cause you problems. So let's start with the two on the upper part of the flight deck, okay? So you insert the spring like so. Now guys, granted, I haven't done a zillion of these, but I've done more than the average person, so it's, you know, kind of comes like chewing gum or turn the light switch on. Okay, so now you can feel these, they're spring loaded. Make sure they feel right. Okay, now we're going to put in the other 4. Let me get them loaded and ready. So what we do now, turn it over like this, and now I put my sensor board back in there. And of course we test all these. But just for showing you how they go in. Okay, just like so. Now those drop into place. Okay, there's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3. Now one of my springs, this happens, has come off. Okay, it fits in the end like this, and if you give it a twist, one end is smaller. Okay, don't drop these springs on the floor. Luckily I have spares, and every time we sweep the floor I always find a lot of parts. But anyways, that's how it goes back together. This here, be sure you go down flat, because you can pinch or move those springs over. You don't want to do that. They have to be in the center of these spots. Now MEI has done a good thing. You probably can't see it on camera, but I can see the springs through here. Okay, I can tell that they're all in the center. Okay, so you have 4 tabs. Okay, 2 here, 2 here, click, click, click. Now you have a nice clean lower transport assembly that's ready to go back in the machine. So now enough of that. Let's change a capacitor, okay, in a board. I've got my, let me see here, I've got my Heiko, or depends on where you're from, Hako, I think it's Heiko 301. This is a desoldering station. Okay, so now I can tell that this capacitor, okay, that's the one we always change. It's weak, it doesn't last a lifetime. Now you see the back side, those 2 lugs, I can tell those are original. Okay, I can just tell by the solder. Now I would never even test that. Sometimes I do test them when I pull them out, but I know it's going to be changed. So unfortunately I don't have a Panduit vise, so what I have to do here is I kind of put it between my knees. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, I put it between my knees. I don't recommend this, you might burn yourself. And what I do, a lot of people have different ways of removing components, is I just pull it out, because I feel, and I find, see, just like that. Now what I do is, up in the light, I look through those holes, which I'm going to do now, and it left a nice clean these are the holes we're looking at here. You can actually see through them. See how they're nice and clean and did not leave any solder residue? Because if they do, you can't get the new capacitor in there. Okay, so we're going to shut this off. Don't burn yourself. This common capacitor in the MEIs, they're not all the same, guys, you have to look at them, but this is a 470 microfarad by 35 volts, and the size, diameter and height of the factory ones is 10 by 15. Okay, this one is 10 this way, but it's by 17. Okay, you don't find these in every repairman's boards because they're 17 tall instead of 15. So I know this is mine. In other words, this may come back in 5 years. I'll know that this was the one that we changed, okay, for the most part. So now what we do, now here's one thing I didn't show you, but it's super, super important. See the stripe on the side of that capacitor? That's the negative side, okay? It goes towards the outside. If you put that in backwards, you're going to blow up your board. You may as well just throw it away. So always remember where the negative side is, okay? So see the stripe on our new one? It's negative. It goes towards the outside. So what we do is we slip it in like so. I like to give it a little, and I mean a little, wiggle room, because this is a tight fit when it goes. Can you see the little bit of space there? Okay, because like I said, this is a very tight fit when it goes back in the housing itself, and you can make them so tight against that board that you cannot get them in there. And then you try and kind of wiggle it or bend it, you might break it. So I'm going to try and get in here while I solder. Yeah, maybe that's too close. All right, flux is important. Yeah, I think I'm a little too close. Okay, flux is important. I have my soldering iron hooked up, and you may not be able to see a ton here, especially if I get my hands in the way, but these are very small components. You do not need a lot of, you don't need much solder at all, really. So you put a couple of drops of flux, and hopefully you're quick enough to where you solder it before the flux evaporates. Okay, so that's all it took. Now keep in mind, guys, I'm no soldering technician. What I normally do now, you have these, the pieces we're going to cut off, is to where you've done it and these are a solid fit. Okay, if these wiggle, you don't have the solder in there. Okay, it doesn't take much, so I can tell that's solid. That's solid. Okay, now we get out our, if I can find them, get out our little tiny pair of dikes, end cutters, whatever you want to call them, end cutters. Now, as you notice, this board, my handwriting, my terrible handwriting, says dead 2511. Now that may sound like a bad thing. However, when I test these, and we have a line of them, that's the first thing I do. And if they're dead, guess what? That's the best thing that you can hope for, because probably 90% of the time when they are dead, it's that 470 by 35 volt capacitor. So what I do now is we have a whole line of boards. I'm going to show you our disarray here, but this is how we do it, because we have a job that is big. Okay, so I do all the cleaning, do all the lower cases. I think there's about a half a dozen boards there, so I'm going to go through those, change caps in all of them. We have all the assemblies lined up here, and it may seem a little bit disorganized, but I kind of know what's what. These are all over here that are working, just need to clean them up, put belts. These all came from a dead board system, so probably out of those 12 you see on the floor, I bet 10 of them come right back up. So when I get the lower transport assemblies put back together with the sensor boards in them, I assemble everything, and we probably hit 80% come right up. If the bills get rejected, we could have a bad sensor here. The upper sensor on the housing itself, the main chassis, that's probably 1 in 10 of those is bad. So anyways, guys, I hope you learned a little bit. I have big hands. I apologize for these clunky videos. We're not so good on editing. Maybe somebody will help us at some point. But anyways, keep in mind, guys, if you end up with a dead MEI, unless you blew it up for some reason, plugged it in wrong, it's probably that 50-cent capacitor. It's a 470 microfarad by 35 volts. You can go up in voltage. Let's say we had a 470 microfarad capacitor, but it was 50 volts. You can still use it, but you can't change the microfarads. It's got to be the same. So anyways, guys, as you see, this is where it goes. I wasn't planning on making a video this morning, but when I had all this stuff strewn out all over the bench and a customer had a question, I thought, well, it's about time we did a short video here. So hopefully I didn't bore you guys. Best thing you can do for my small channel is subscribe and hit that bell. That way you'll get a notification, and we wish you all the best. Any questions? Repair. If you end up taking it all apart, you can't get it back together, bag up everything, box up everything, and then get a hold of us. You can send it in, and we'll finish the job for you. So for now, guys, Doug at Doug's World Tour Vending and Amusement Channel. Out.